She thought she had escaped justice, but today, the High Court dropped an absolute bombshell. Moroadi Cholota has officially lost her bid to avoid prosecution. For years, the former personal assistant to Ace Magashule has been the missing piece of a staggering R255 million corruption puzzle. Today, on February 18, 2026, the legal walls finally closed in on her. The Free State High Court has just dismissed her special plea. Today, the National Prosecuting Authority secured a massive victory that completely changes the trajectory of what is arguably the most anticipated corruption trial in South Africa's history. This is the moment many have been waiting for, a critical turning point in the fight against state capture. In a packed courtroom this Wednesday, Judge Philip Loubser delivered a ruling that effectively ended Cholota's long and drawn-out attempt to block her trial. The judge's reasoning was surgical and left little room for argument. First, he addressed the jurisdiction factor. Despite Cholota's claims that her extradition from the U.S. back in 2024 was unlawful, Judge Loubser ruled unequivocally that the court does indeed have the jurisdiction to try her. This single point dismantles a core pillar of her defense strategy. Next, the judge addressed her status as a suspect. The court noted that Moroadi Cholota became a suspect the very moment she refused to implicate her former boss, Ace Magashule, during interviews with the Hawks in the United States. Her refusal to cooperate was a red flag that investigators could not ignore, shifting her from a potential witness to a central figure in the investigation. But the most crucial element was the hard evidence. The court highlighted that by the year 2020, investigators already had evidence recovered from Cholota's own laptop that directly implicated her in the R255 million scandal. This digital trail provided a concrete link that prosecutors have been building their case on for years. With this evidence in hand, the judge concluded that the state's case against her special plea was ironclad. He dismissed her remaining grounds and cleared the path for her to join the 18 other co-accused in the dock. The game has changed, and Cholota is now front and center. To truly understand why this is such a monumental event, we have to look at the sheer scale of the alleged crime. This isn't just a simple case of paperwork errors. It's a AR255 million taxpayer-funded disaster. The central figure, Moroadi Cholota, was the former personal assistant to the premier. She stands accused of money laundering and fraud. Her boss at the time, Ace Magashule, the former Free State premier, is accused of overseeing the entire corrupt contract. Then there's Edwin Sodi, a businessman whose joint venture, Blackhead Consulting, was awarded the massive R255 million bid. So what was this contract for? It was initiated in 2014 and was supposed to be a project to audit, identify, and safely remove hazardous asbestos roofing from homes in the Free State, a critical public health initiative. However, for years, the state has argued that very little of the actual necessary work was ever done. Instead, it's alleged that millions of rands were siphoned off and funneled to high-ranking officials and their associates. This scandal represents a profound betrayal of public trust, where funds meant to protect vulnerable communities were allegedly diverted for personal enrichment. This context is why the trial is so significant and why today's ruling is a potential watershed moment. The road to this point has been a legal roller coaster, a true seesaw battle between freedom and the dock for Cholota. In June of 2025, she actually scored a brief but significant victory when the High Court initially ruled that her extradition was flawed. For a moment, it seemed she might have found a way out. But the NPA refused to back down. They immediately took the case to the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court. On January 23, 2026, the Constitutional Court delivered its judgment. While the Apex Court did agree that the extradition process itself was procedurally messy, it made a critical distinction. It stated clearly and firmly that these procedural issues did not invalidate the criminal charges against her. This was the pivotal decision that sent the case right back to the Free State High Court, leading directly to today's crushing defeat for Cholota's defense team. The legal labyrinth she tried to navigate has led her right back to where she started, facing a full-blown trial. With this latest ruling, the delay tactics are officially over. Judge Loubser has set the trial to resume immediately on March 2, 2026. This date is now locked in. Moroadi Cholota will now stand trial alongside her former boss, Ace Magashule, and other heavyweights like the businessman Edwin Sodi and the former Mangong mayor, Ali Mumleli. This is undoubtedly the NPA's biggest chance to prove that they can hold the so-called untouchables accountable for the devastating decade of state capture. All eyes will be on the Bloemfontein High Court as this trial unfolds. The stakes could not be higher, not just for the accused, but for the entire country's faith in the justice system. Stay tuned, because the real fireworks are set to begin in less than 2 weeks. This is the Asbestos trial, and the truth is finally, officially, coming to court. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for continuous updates on this landmark case.